Some sounds don't need an explanation. You hear them and your body reacts before your mind can catch up. A scream, a bone snapping, footsteps running behind you when you know you're alone. But then there's this one. Teke, Teke, Teke. In Japan, that sound means one thing. You don't have time to turn around, because if you hear it, she's already close enough to reach you. They say every city has its ghosts, but Japan has something worse. It has urban legends that sound plausible, stories told casually, quietly, as warnings disguised as rumors. And one of the most feared among them is the legend of Teke Teke. Not because she appears suddenly, but because you hear her before you see her. And by the time you understand what that rhythmic scraping means, you're already being measured for the cut. The coldness of the crowd. The legend begins decades ago, in the late hours of a brutal winter. A high school girl, some say her name was Kashima Reiko, was walking home near a railway station. It was the kind of night where the platform feels endless and the fluorescent lights hum with a sickly, dying energy. She slipped, or she was pushed. In the end, the why doesn't matter as much as the who, because as she tumbled onto the tracks, she looked up. She saw the commuters on the opposite platform. She saw the salarymen in their gray suits and the students with their glowing phones. They saw her too. They saw her reaching out, her fingers clawing at the cold steel of the rail. But they did nothing. They adjusted their coats. They stepped back into the shadows. They looked at their watches, praying the train wouldn't be delayed by an incident. Then came the vibration, the roar of the engine, the screech of brakes that were seconds too late. The train didn't just hit her, it divided her, above the waist, cleanly, brutally. But she didn't die immediately. That's the detail the witnesses couldn't scrub from their dreams. She lay there in the gravel, her upper half separated from the life she knew. She dragged herself along the platform, using only her elbows and her fingernails, leaving a dark, steaming trail behind her. She watched the shoes of the people who refused to help her as they walked away. She died alone, unseen, and extremely aware of how much of her was missing. And in that final moment of agony, her grief turned into a predatory symmetry. If the world was going to leave her incomplete, she would make sure the world felt exactly what that was like. The mechanics of rage. That's when the legend says she became something else. Not a ghost in white robes, not a screaming apparition, but a thing that moves. They say Teke Teke appears at night near train stations, underpasses, and school routes. She has no lower body, no legs, just a torso. And she moves by slamming her elbows and hands against the ground with a terrifying mechanical rhythm. Teke, Teke, Teke. At first, people thought it was a prank. Students whispered about it on the long walk home. If you hear scratching sounds, they'd say, laughing, don't turn around. But that's the part that makes the laughter die in your throat. Teke Teke doesn't crawl slowly. She doesn't drag herself like a wounded animal. She has learned how to compensate. Rage has taught her how to run without legs. She doesn't move like a human. She vibrates. Her elbows hit the pavement with the speed of a sewing machine needle, a blur of school uniform and gray, leathery skin. She has been clocked moving at 70 miles per hour, keeping pace with cars, her torso hovering inches above the asphalt, her long black hair dragging behind her like a funeral veil. The symmetry of the blade. Survivors, if you can call them that, say the first thing you notice is the silence. The city stops breathing. No insects, no distant cars, no wind, just that rhythmic clack, clack, clack approaching from the darkness. At first, it sounds a block away, then a few yards, then it sounds like it's vibrating through your own spine. They say if you turn around, you'll see her face. It's twisted, frozen between the girl she was and the thing she is. Her eyes are locked on yours. They aren't angry, they are focused. She is measuring you. She is looking for the exact center of your waist. Teke Teke doesn't kill out of hunger. She kills for balance. She carries a scythe, or sometimes just a sharpened piece of metal she found near the tracks. And when she catches you, she doesn't bite. She replicates her own tragedy. One strike, horizontal. People who disappear near rail yards are found days later, perfectly severed. No struggle, no lower half, just the upper body staring back with the same confusion she felt that night on the tracks. The digital infection. There's a reason Japanese schools take these stories seriously, because over the years the legend has adapted. She doesn't need abandoned tracks anymore. She moves with the city. She waits in parking lots. She waits under the glowing LED signs of convenience stores. But lately, the legend has taken a darker, more modern turn. People began reporting strange glitches in security footage, a distorted shape crossing a 4-lane highway too fast for a camera to capture. And then there are the audio files. They say that if you listen to the recording of the Teke Teke sound for too long, your own legs start to feel heavy, numb, as if the audio file itself is a parasite trying to pull itself out of your speakers. Some claim that after watching videos about her, they found small dusty handprints on their bedroom floors. Not footprints, just palms and elbows. She is no longer just a ghost on the tracks. She is a digital echo. Every time her story is told, she gets a little faster. Every time someone watches, she gets a little closer to the real world. The rule of survival. Some versions of the legend say you can survive. They say if she corners you and asks, "Where are my legs?" you must answer, "On the Meishin Expressway." But here's the problem with rules. They are designed to give you hope, and hope makes you slow. She doesn't want your answers. She wants your symmetry. So, if you're walking home tonight and the streetlights start to flicker, if the sound of the wind suddenly dies out, don't reach for your phone. Don't try to record it. If you hear a strange, rhythmic scraping sound, not footsteps, not an animal, but something wrong, don't look. Don't run, because imagination doesn't chase you, and imagination doesn't get faster when you panic. Teke, Teke, Teke. If you hear that sound behind you, she has already decided, and the only reason she hasn't reached you yet is because she wants you to feel it first. The coldness, the realization, the feeling of